All right. Have you wondered why it is that 100% of the public would like a more reliable voting system, but it doesn't seem like it's happening? There's not some big national conversation involving the politicians in which the news and everybody's talking about what's the best way to do it. And there's a state that's trying one way, and we're all trying to improve things, and nothing like that's happening, right? There definitely have been bills that have been proposed that have been turned down for a variety of reasons, even by Republicans. So what's going on? What's going on? Well, let me tell you what I think is going on, and you're going to laugh at how obvious it is when I tell you. Everybody who was elected got elected with this system. Do you see it yet? 100% of the people who are elected officials got elected with the current system. They're the last people you should trust to change it. Literally, if you looked at all 300 million people in the United States, and you said to yourself, we need to choose somebody to help fix our election system, is there anybody we should rule out? Yeah, everybody who got elected by that system. Because they're all the people who don't want to change it, wouldn't you think? Why would you change the thing that's working for you and not working for your enemies? Makes no sense. So until we can get to the point where we can at least admit that the people who are in charge of fixing it are the only ones who don't want it fixed, until we can come to terms with that, nothing's going to happen, right? We're pretty fucking stupid to put the only people who don't want it to change in charge of changing it, or in charge of its integrity. What could be dumber than that? Putting the criminals in charge of guarding the loot? But literally, there's nothing you could think of that would be dumber than putting the only people who don't want to fix it in charge of fixing it. That's our current system. And in particular, I kept reading people's opinions about, this or that wouldn't work or would work. And I feel like the conversation doesn't go anywhere because it's never going to matter as long as the politicians are in charge of the systems. All right, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I did hear from somebody who claimed to be an expert, or seemed to be, speaking authoritatively, that using blockchain technology wouldn't give you the fix that you need. In other words, somebody made the claim, it was a professor at Stanford, so somebody who's got some credentials, claimed that anybody who's serious about crypto stuff knows that an election system using blockchain is a bad idea. Well, I didn't know that. Can somebody tell me why that's a bad idea? Now, I'm certainly not saying that that's the idea that has to work. It seems like you could do it without blockchain. But I've never heard that blockchain would make it worse. Somebody says it's not private. Let's talk about that. We do have a standard that says you should have a private vote, that nobody knows who you voted for. But let me ask you this. Let's check that assumption, okay? When was the last time you didn't know who somebody voted for? Can you think of a time when you didn't know who all your friends voted for? It's kind of obvious. Anybody who has social media, you know who they voted for, right? When was the last time you were surprised? Now every now and then there'll be some Republican who, does a write-in because they don't like the candidate or something. Does that matter? Suppose somebody found out that although you're a Republican, that one time you didn't vote for Trump. Are you in trouble? I don't know. I don't know. So I really don't understand why we really care if anybody knows who you voted for. So I would simply test that assumption that anybody really cares about it. Somebody said I could get fired. You think they wouldn't? Do you think that do Do you think they'd check? Let's say that everybody's vote became public, just for a mental exercise. And let's say your employer finds out you voted for the wrong person. Do you think they'd fire you? See, here's the problem. First of all, if somebody did fire you for that, they're a very bad company, and they're probably going to go out of business anyway. So it's better you left. But if you knew everybody's vote, everybody would be in trouble. Would 75 million people lose their jobs? I don't think so. Now, it could be that companies end up, getting rid of the ones they don't like and hiring more of the people that they do. But I don't see it happening in some massive way. And it seems like if a company were to do that, it would be bad for them competitively. Because if there was no problem until they found out who you voted for, there wasn't a problem. They would be fixing a thing that wasn't a problem. So yeah, it could happen. People could get fired if you found out who they voted for. But I can't see it being a big problem. I can see it being a small problem, but not a big one. Anyway, I won't talk you out of your privacy. If you can keep it, that'd be great. Join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip. It happens now. Go.